Welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews.
I'm Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
And I'm Gary. And today we're going to review and discuss Hesher, which came out in 2010 by director Spencer Sousa. Iain. Hesher. Why don't you give us the synopsis for the movie Hesher?
Well, the story follows TJ, a small boy whose mum has just been killed in a fatal car accident. He's living with his father Paul, played by Rainn Wilson, in their grandmother's house. TJ has a bit of a run-in with a loudmouth, vulgar language spouting, heavy metal rocking man called Hesher, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Hesher moves into Grandma's house and we follow TJ's life experiences shown to him by Hesher.
This is a small independent film, obviously, which came out in 2010, and it didn't get a very wide release. They had a budget of about 7 million, but it was an incredible success when it came out at the Sundance Film Festival. A lot of people said that it was perhaps the best film there of the year.
Yeah.
And it's surprising to see such a collection of actors brought together, again, for a low budget, to work on this drama. I went into this film expecting it to be a comedy. The back of the box says that the film is hilarious. Yet I quickly realised that this film was bleak, depressing, sad, and miserable. There was very little comedy in the film at first, until the character of Hesher turns up, and then the black humour, or the black comedy, really starts to settle in, which sort of leaves you in an uneasy state watching the film because you don't really know what direction it's going to go. We introduced to this family unit, which is incredibly dysfunctional. Rainn Wilson, who's becoming one of my favourite actors of our time, who had his breakout in comedy, has brought such a charm to this character that he plays in this film as this downtrodden everyday man who we soon realise is dealing with the fact that he's just lost his wife, and as a result has sort of become a recluse, and he's neglecting all responsibilities for both his son and his own mother. I will also give huge props to the child actor in the film, Devon Broku, I think his name was.
Okay.
He delivers a standout performance in the film. We also have Natalie Portman, who also plays a mousy, shy girl who is sort of an extra character sort of looking in on this family that's going through this really difficult phase.
That's it. I was recommended this film by a friend and he's been going on at me for like the last 6 months to watch this film, sit down with Gary and review it. And, you know, finally I was just like, yeah, all right, okay, I'll sit down and watch it. And, you know, I checked it up on Wikipedia and I had a look of it. And like Gary said, you know, a lot of people were like, this is funny as hell. So once the film started, you don't get that. You follow TJ as he's riding after this smashed up car being towed by a tow truck, and you're wondering why is he doing this? But you get this really sad emotional feeling by the way that he's staring at the car. That something he's got a personal attachment to this car, and it won't be later on until the movie into the movie that you realize that yes, you know, the mum was killed in the car and he was actually in there with her. So, you know, he's trying to hold on to her remaining spirit in this car. And then everything else just seems to be going wrong for him. You know, like I said, his relationship with Rainn Wilson is very strained. You know, Rainn Wilson just spends most of the time just sleeping on the couch and taking pills and seems to be going through quite a depressing period in his life. The grandmother, kudos to the grandmother. She's so sweet and loving, and she's you know constantly trying to bring the father and son at least up or together, but she can't because she's so frail.
I've got to give props to the actress as well, Pippa Laurie.
Yeah.
I remember her from Carrie. She was also in The Faculty.
I see. I thought I recognised her from somewhere.
And The Hustler. And she's continuing to work now, I think, on Twin Peaks. So she's an incredible actress.
Yeah, and just like I said, there's the way you're drawn into the family element, and I got very quick feeling. It was much filmed and edited, much like Super. You know, it's not a Hollywood blockbuster. You know, there's not masses of HD special effect cameras and all that kind of stuff. It's literally like a documentary. Like somebody just picked up the camera and said, right, guys, I just need you to act out these scenes and I'll follow you around. And I'm really starting to love those types of films.
Well, it is. It's a drama.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a drama that does move on at a quick enough pace. It sets everything up that you need to know about this family and about how their day-to-day is. We follow TJ as he goes to school.
Yeah.
And we see that he's bullied continuously by, I think it's the garage owners or the mechanic's son.
Yeah.
Who sort of torments him at the garage and torments him in school. And we just kind of realize that, you know, he's being bullied at school, and when he gets home, no one wants to listen to him and nobody cares about him.
Well, Grandma does.
Well,
but
okay. He's not interested in what Grandma has to say to him.
Yeah.
Because Grandma herself is pretty much... She's smoking medical marijuana. Pretty much the entire film. We're not aware that she is most of the time.
Yeah, that's it.
But she's pretty much high the entire time.
But you do get a feeling that Grandma has a bit of dementia, I feel. You know, she forgets certain things, and then when the memory comes back, you can tell that, you know, she's really upset about it, so she doesn't want to bring it up. But she does want to help her son. She does want to help her grandson. And they are just separating themselves so much.
Yeah.
This is where Hesher comes in. We follow TJ as he's I think he's riding to school, and he crashes his bike in a construction yard, and he gets so angry, you know, all the emotions are getting on top of him, and he throws a rock and smashes this house window, and then you see Joseph Gordon-Levitt come walking out.
Fucking son. Come on, get up.
And it's really intense. Every scene with Hesher in is intense. If you've never seen this film before, you do not expect what he's going to do, what he's going to say, how he's going to act. Every scene is on a knife edge because you're just thinking, what the fuck's he going to do? And it's like he's got TJ up against the wall and a security guard comes onto the building site and he just looks at TJ and he goes,
You just fucked me.
Turns around, lifts up, I don't know, a firecracker or a stick of dynamite. I don't know what the fuck it is.
Lets up a big bang.
Yeah, just chucks out the window and does one of those cool slow motion walk away of explosion. It was awesome.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt actually said that the persona for Hesher was inspired by the late bass player of Metallica, Cliff Burton. He was a rock legend, and he lived a rock legend lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so the persona of Hesher is sort of inspired by that. So much so to the point that when Hesher introduces himself, it's followed by a rock riff.
Where's the laundry room?
But my dad's gonna be home soon.
Where's the laundry room?
Why?
You ever been skull fucked?
No.
Would you like to be?
Yeah. That was so cool. I just wanted that to be played throughout the film. Every time he said something, you know, a bit of a drum solo, a guitar.
You think she shaves her pussy? Now you got more channels. Sorry.
It's been so cool. But this is it. As the film progresses, I liked Hesher because he was funny and random, but at the same time, I did think he was a dick.
he is an absolute douchebag. He really is. He has no, self-control at all. But then when you look at him, you realise that he has a stickman tattoo on his chest that looks like it was hastily hand-drawn, blowing his brains out.
Yeah.
And the tattoo on his back is a huge fuck you. And that pretty much is this character in those tattoo forms, really.
Yeah.
It's almost as if a bunch of Metallica albums gave birth. This is its creation.
See, I love this character because, on one hand, he had some trauma. He was very. It felt like he was very damaged. Something had happened to him in the past that had just sent him on this complete uncontrollable rage, and he was just going to go through life fucking shit up. But then on the other hand, halfway through the movie, I was just like, if it was only TJ who could see him, he would be like a Drop Dead Fred kind of imaginary character.
I did get a sort of Fight Club vibe from the film, where it was, we weren't sure whether he did exist or not because he's such an extreme character.
Yeah, and he just seems to randomly just turn up at the right times.
Like when he turns up at the school.
Yeah.
When he just turns up in the house and he's like, I'm going to kill your entire family unless you let me do my laundry. And it's just like, is he real? Isn't he? There's a sequence when TJ's being bullied at the school again.
Yeah.
And his face is being shoved into the urinal. And Hesher walks in. And you're like, TJ's going to be saved. And, maybe they're going to build up this friendship now. He's going to take him under his wing and show him the ropes.
Yeah.
And in Hesher's way, he is showing him the ropes by just leaving him there to be bullied. Because from his point of view, if Hesher had come in and saved him, TJ would just get his ass kicked twice as hard later.
Yeah.
So, in Hesher's point of view, he's teaching him to look out for himself and stand up for himself now because no one else is going to help you.
That's right.
And that's the sort of character type that Hesher is. I mean, he's an archetypal character, really. But he's the sort of person that's come into this family who is in a rut. And he is able to show them things that are happening to them that they can't see themselves.
Yeah.
And that is sort of the character type that he's going to be playing. And as I said, we do have this mousy Natalie Portman character that sort of seeing things from a different perspective and also trying to help TJ out of this situation as well.
Yeah, I mean I love Natalie Portman. I think she excels at every film that she does. I know a lot of people give her grief for like the Star Wars franchises or some of the lower budget movies that she's done, but I've always really enjoyed her in the independent movies.
Yes.
Things like Leon and Garden State with Zach Braff, and especially Hesher as well, because she makes me believe her characters and the way that she's explaining to TJ about how she can't pay her rent and how she's working so hard but she's not getting any more hours and how she can't afford to pay for insurance, so if she has an accident she's pretty much fucked. And she doesn't, like Ari said, she's a mousy character, so she doesn't want to get into trouble. But the way Hesher is just like, you're moaning that your day's so bad, then let's make you smile. And he takes him to that house and just literally just throws him in a swimming pool and then fucks the whole garden up.
It's my uncle's house.
Well, where's your uncle?
Right over there.
Where? Oh! What the fuck?
Well, you were dirty.
Yeah, now I'm wet.
Oh, you're dirty and wet?
It's like, you need this. You need a person like this to come along and just destroy everything so that you feel better about yourself. And so after a while, I'm like, is he a dick? Because he has these random stories about things that he's gone through, and yet they're kind of moralistically attached to whatever situation he's in talking to.
It loosely. Sometimes you can make stronger connections than others. Sometimes you just think that he's gabbling on about whatever.
Fuck you, bitches!
Yeah, and you got a question as well if they're actually happened.
Even if they've happened. But from what we've seen of the character, I'm inclined to believe they probably did happen.
Yeah.
This one time, a couple years back, I had these 4 chicks in the back of the van, and we're all like super fucking wasted and going for it, right? So I was eating this one chick out, was fingering another chick, but there's still 2 chicks, right? And they want to get off. So I got my other hand fingering this other chick, and I got my toe rubbing on the 4 chick's asshole, and I was going crazy, man. I was like, this is too much, you know? I was like, couldn't tell which chick was which. Tongue started to hurt, fingers getting tired.
So you have those comical moments-ish, and then we cut to, group meetings, and people are sharing their pain, and there's a very long sequence where they are in a meeting, and there's a couple, and they're talking about the loss of their child, and you're just drawn into the gravity of them just acting.
Yeah.
It just, I've never been to one of these meetings. I don't think I ever want to go to one of these meetings. It reminds me of Fight Club, but it's without the penguins.
Yeah.
And so when Rainn Wilson's there, sat there trying to convey his emotions, but he's completely unable to because he's sort of blocked himself off.
Yeah.
And TJ sat there just looking at all these other people that are sharing their stories and their pain, and it's just like, this is a very bleak and depressing film, and without the character of Hesher, this would really just be a pain to get through.
It would. I mean, that grief counselling scene, it had been building up, all these upsetting emotions all the way through. You're following TJ. He's being bullied. That something bad's happened to the father and the family, and like I said, you take away the Hesher character, and it is very bleak and depressing, especially when it gets to the grief counselling scene, because you feel, that's what I loved about this film, was that you felt the emotion, and it made you feel down, and that's exactly what the scene was supposed to do. Then you cut to Hesher turning up and doing something random, and it makes you laugh. Weirdly balances.
Yeah.
It weirdly balances that you felt really, really down and really upset for these people that have lost all this stuff. And then this fucking anarchist comes over, does this thing, and you realize, you know what? Okay, yeah, life carries on. We've got to laugh. We've just got to get through this.
We're here because we need help. We lost our baby.
One of the scenes I wanted to bring up, I mean, it was going to get onto my favourite scene list, but I wanted to talk about it, was the dinner sequence. Hesher has moved into the house, he's playing his guitar really loud in the garage, and the grandmother says to TJ, why don't you invite him for dinner? So you do a couple more scenes, and then you cut back to the family, and they're all sat around eating tea, and the grandmother asks TJ if he would like to go for a walk. And you can tell that TJ doesn't want to, so he's kind of just making excuses. And Hesher kind of butts in and starts, complaining at TJ, saying, look, your grandmother's asking you to go for a walk. Get up an extra hour. Go for a walk with her. And you getting the point from him.
Yeah.
The point of, this is your grandmother. She doesn't look like she's got much time left. You've got to get up off your ass. But then it's when he starts bringing up the granny rapist story.
You ever heard of Granny Killer?
The granny killer?
Yeah, the Granny Killer. He killed like 13 or 14 old ladies. You should choke them with their dirty panties and shit. I don't think he cock-fucked them all, but he would finger-fuck them all.
That's enough.
And I was so impressed with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's just
matter-of-factness of the way he delivers these lines.
And the way that he just delivers it with, he's not laughing, he's not joking, he's literally not trying to convince you, but just telling you that there are some sick fuckers out there, and that if your grandmother's walking on the road on her own, she's probably going to get raped. And I was like, okay. And what made me laugh even more was when the grandmother turns around and she's like, why? Who would want to rape me? It was absolutely hysterical.
Why would anyone rape me?
Fuck if I know. And people do it. There's some sick fucks out there.
As the film carries on, you're building up to the father and son reconciling, and the tragedy happens again, and the grandmother dies. And it was really quite harsh, because I'm sat there and I'm looking at TJ's, the actor playing TJ, and I'm like, you are doing so brilliant, conveying to me that not only have you just lost your mother, but you've just lost your grandmother as well. And in a weird way, you're almost losing your father.
Well, they don't really seem to act any more depressed than what they already are. It almost seems to me like it's just that they've just accepted it. They just seem confused that it's happened, right to the point where they're sat at the funeral and they're just sort of, their minds are gone.
Yeah.
They're just distantly out there. It's like they're just going through the motions of life still. They're not experiencing any of it.
Well, it's hard to, isn't it? It's hard to see the positive side when you've lost all the stuff.
But they're not even weeping. They're not crying at all. They're just sort of they're just sort of existing, but by not existing.
Yeah.
And that is again the catalyst for Hesher to turn up, even though he's not invited, even though he's they want him out of there. He barges in and says, "No, you fucking listen."
Yeah.
Because sometimes you need a stranger to slap you in the face and show you what is in front of your face.
Yeah. Well, one of the most awesome scenes was, grandmother has died, and you've been following TJ's kind of stalking nature to Natalie Portman's character. And after the grandmother dies, TJ decides he's going to give a load of money to Natalie Portman. He goes to her apartment, and she is having sex with Hesher, and it just completely allows, I suppose it allows TJ to just explode with all the emotions that he's been bottling up inside. I mean, he completely goes off on one. He starts destroying Hesher's van. He goes home, and Hesher tries to talk to him, but inadvertently ends up grabbing him, and so the father comes out to defend his son, which is brilliant. Another brilliant scene, because you can tell now that Rainn Wilson is starting to open up. Yeah. You're not taking my son from me. I've lost all this other stuff. You're not taking my son from me. I'm going to look after him. And then you follow TJ. TJ's just like, well, fuck you, Dad. I'm getting out of here. And he gets on his bike and he goes to the bully's house in the rain. And the rain is so intense. You can just see that the character is soaked through, and it's kind of reflecting his emotions. He sneaks into the bully's house, and he has a pair of garden clippers on the kid's toes, and he's trying to find out where the wreckage of his mum's car's gone. And so the kid tells him, and the TJ goes to the crush yard, and he finds the car. And I thought it was just such a brilliant scene where it's, like I said, it's been building up all this negative emotions about what's happened to the mother, and then you're sat in the car with him, reliving the memory. And I was sat there waiting for the crash. And as the song went on, as they carried on singing, I really didn't want it to happen. But it's something, a voice kept saying, it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and you're just going to have to let it happen.
The good with the bad. Each time I ask the stars up above, why must I be a teenager in...
It was kudos.
Yeah, very poignant moment in the film. It's surprising to see the flashback occur so late in the film.
Yeah.
Which really surprised me. But it was, as a flashback, it works really well. It's kind of, it's good because you actually get to see the family before where the film starts them at.
Definitely, yeah.
I've got a few favourite moments in the film. During the bullying sequence, TJ decides to get some payback because the bully was like, suck my cock, suck my cock. So he decided to spray paint suck my cock onto the side of his car.
See, now did he?
Or did Hesher do it?
Or did Hesher do it? You don't know. It just seems to be there. And that's what made me question if Hesher was real or not. But that was, seeing him driving along, he's got the big black suck my cock lines on the side. And the fact that the car is bright yellow, so it stands out
so
more.
well. That was the first point in the film where I laughed. I will say there's a lot of good dialogue in the film. There's a lot of good back and forth. But one of the things that did also make me laugh out loud is when TJ's in the supermarket and he's sort of creeping on the Natalie Portman character, and Hesher sneaks up behind him, and he asks him, "You gonna fuck her?" And TJ says, "Well, no." And Hesher's like, "Well, that's good, because you can't do it from all the way over here. You got to be a lot closer." Just like...
You can try and fuck her?
No.
Huh? It's good. You can't fuck her from here, dude. Gotta be way closer. What?
And then he starts following him around the supermarket, shouting about poking her. And you got all the people in the supermarket
listening like,
yeah,
what?
Like, what are they talking about?
Dude, there's nothing wrong with wanting to poke her.
Stop saying that.
Dude, if you want to poke her, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't be ashamed. Human beings have been poking vagina for hundreds of years. Longer, probably. Bro, seriously, there's nothing wrong with wanting some pussy.
Yeah, there are some great scenes in the film. Those two are the ones that stood out for me.
See, for me, I was making a list. You know, like Harry said, the dialogue and the... I don't want to say depressing scenes because, you know, it kind of seems like the wrong word to use. But the darker scenes were really, really well done. And like I said, kudos to all the actors for carrying off all those scenes because it kept me hooked. It kept me hooked because I wanted to see how it was going to turn out, if there was going to be any uplifting moments. And then they all came through Hesher. I mean, like Gary said, my first favourite one was the suck my cock scene with the car. Absolutely brilliant, especially the fact he's got to drive down those streets. The dinner table sequence was absolutely hilarious. Hesher getting kicked in the balls.
Dude, that was fucking awesome. You flew like fucking 5 feet. Oh!
And the fact that it looked so real. The fact that, you know, kudos to Joseph Gordon-Levitt taking a kick to the balls. It looked like it hurt a lot. Favorite scene number 4 was where Hesher, he turns up at TJ's bedroom and he wants to talk to him, and he delivers some lines, and then he says, "Look, I'm just going to do one thing before I leave," and he walks into the room, farts, and walks back out again. It was absolutely brilliant. Hesher smoking a bong with Grandma. He goes into the room and starts talking to Grandma, and Grandma pulls out this little medicinal marijuana joint, and Hesher's like, "Hold on a minute," goes off, comes back with this bong, puts the weed into the bong, and they share a bong together. I thought that was awesome as well. And the final sequence where they're at the funeral, Hesher's stories have kept you hooked up to this point. You don't know if to believe them or not. They seem to have some kind of link to the situation that he's in, and it's just so emotional. Even though the story is really funny, it does have some kind of link to the situation they're in. But then it builds up to, he just turns to them and says, "Look, I promised Grandma I'm going to take her on a walk. That's what I'm going to do." And so Hesher, Rainn Wilson, and TJ all just grab the coffin and just walk it around the block. And as a bonus, the final sequence where he's written "Hesher was here" on the roof of the house. That was.
I do recommend Hesher. There's very few people I've ever spoken to that have ever seen the film. Like I said, it didn't get a very wide release.
Yeah.
But it's definitely out there. It's worth checking out. It's a tough film to get through because of the heavy drama, but because the actors do such a good job. Because Hesher is just pretty much a wild card, you have no idea which direction he's going to go in, what's going to happen next, or how the other people are even going to respond or react to him. And it just makes it for very compelling watching. It's a hour and 40 minutes. There's a lot of vulgar language in the film, a lot of sort of not sexual content, but a lot of descriptive sort of language in the film, which might put some people off. But it's a generally enjoyable film.
Hesher. Fuck yeah.
Thanks for watching Off the Shelf Reviews.
Living and dying, laughing and crying.
Go ahead, suck. Yeah, here you go. Lift your thumb, big breath, big breath. Yeah.
Oh my.
Hit it again.